Hey Leadership Nation, Christopher Hart here with another Lead Strong Leadership Development series. So if you are joining us for the very first time here on Facebook Live, thank you for joining us and welcome. If you're watching on our YouTube channel, on our replay video, welcome. Feel free to engage whether you're watching on replay or live. Ask us questions, give us your comments, your ahas, your takeaways, whatever. Some thumbs up, smiley faces, we love them all. But most of all, feel free to engage as we will, I promise you, engage you back. So for those that don't know, once again, my name is Christopher Hart, Transforming Lives Coaching and Consulting. I am a peak performance, leadership, and organizational development coach. And we do these videos to help leaders make more money, have more time, reduce their stress, all through the power of being more influential and more impactful in their world, to include their family, their businesses, and the organizations that they're leading people in. So today's video is actually titled Cut Up Your Leadership Credit Cards. And so I've had some people reach out to me based off of our marketing Facebook promotions and Instagram. They go, what is a leadership credit card? Like, where do I get that card? Well, bear with me. I'm going to show you kind of what I'm talking about. It's more so an analogy than it is a physicality. Like, you don't really have one in your wallet, but you're basically using that premise in your leadership, or many are. And I'm going to show you through an analogy what exactly I mean. So kind of get into it. Here's what we're looking at. In the world today, or our country for that matter, we are a country based on credit. How our economy evolves is all through credit. We've abandoned the cash system for credit. Prime example, I challenge you to open your wallets or your purses and how much cash you have and how many cards. Most people have more cards than they have a sum total of cash in their wallets or purses. We just live in a world today where these little plastic cards are how we pay for things. And credit is really the way we work. Everything from macroeconomics to your own personal microeconomics. And the reality of credit today is that the largest system of movement of money is through credit. The largest being mortgages. The second largest being student loans. And the third largest being personal credit. So what does that mean? Personal credit could be everything from your credit cards to your vehicles. So the reality is most of your most important assets, your house, your car, and for some of you guys, some of the expensive technology in your offices and in your homes is all bought through credit. And so what do we do with credit? We use a card that says that we can afford a certain amount of money. So we'll go out and we'll buy something on credit with the hopes that we honor the credit agreement, whereby we pay down the debt that we have accumulated over a sustained period of time, whether it's your house, whether it's your vehicles, or whether it's an expensive asset that you look to purchase. The reality for most people on the credit system is, and this is statistically proven, people are buying things that they can't really afford, so they buy them on credit with the hopes that over time they buy them down through a payment system. And so we're going to explore that same concept in leadership and how it defines leadership credit cards. So most of the credit system is analyzed on what we call a debt to income ratio. How much money do you make? What is your income? Balanced against the potential debt of whatever you're looking to purchase. And so it's the basic financial management and stewardship model. How much comes in versus how much goes out. Debits, credits, deposits, withdrawals. And the reality about leadership is that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And where most leaders, or where many leaders operate, is more of a demanding leadership. They're asking their people to do things. One of the biggest challenges is a question that I get asked from a lot of leaders is, how do I get my team to do that? How do I ask my team to do more? Well, the reality is you deposit more. It's like any other financial banking. right, is you cannot out-withdraw your bank account, meaning you can't withdraw more than you deposit. And that's what leadership really is. It's depositing into people such that you can make those withdrawals. But where we really look at this whole leadership credit card analogy is, I think leaders' biggest fear that creates a ceiling of achievement for them is they believe they need to operate by leadership perfection versus progression, whereby they need to be perfect. They can't make mistakes. So therefore, a lot of them don't challenge their leadership. They don't hire more people. They don't hire better talented people because they don't feel like they're at the level of perfection that they would be held accountable to if they were to hire more people or more talented people, etc. And the reality of leadership is it's a fail-forward, progressive process, which means you're going to make mistakes. The biggest fear leaders have is making those mistakes. What happens if I make a mistake? What are my people going to think of me? Well, here's the thing. If leadership is a progressive method whereby we fail forward, we have to understand, we have to embrace the failures along the way. We're going to make mistakes. It's not a perfect model. There never will be. So we can't hold ourselves to a level of accountability that we can't meet. We have to hold ourselves to a level of capability of progression, which means we're going to make mistakes. We're going to make the wrong decisions at times. We're going to handle things improperly. We're going to treat people wrong. We're going to say the wrong things. Those things just happen in leadership. Why? Because we're human. Okay? So how do we handle those things? It's the accounting system. Look at a mistake as a debt, right? It's a subtraction per se in the relationship. Okay? So we look at debts as things that are withdraw income, and income is a deposit. And if we look at a balance sheet per se, right? A balance sheet has what? Income and assets and basically expenses. So this is more of a P&L, excuse me, right? Not a balance sheet. But you have income and expenses. And at the end of the day, you want that P&L to have a positivity of blue, right? Blue meaning it's a positive. If you have a red and a negative on your P&L, it means you're losing money. So how do we have that? We have more income than we do expenses. How do you become that leader that allows you to be progressive, knowing that you're going to have debts in the relationship, you're going to have withdrawals, you're going to do things wrong, say things wrong, handle things wrong, is you focus on massive amounts of income into the relationship, where you're depositing more into the relationship that allows you to demand or debit out of the relationship should you make a mistake. Should you need to get more out of your people, you can ask more of them. Why? Because on your income and expenses balance sheet of that relationship, you have an excessive amount of income that you've deposited into the relationship that you can withdraw some. It's just natural way of stewardship, whether in our relationships, our finances, etc. Okay? But where does that come into conjunction with credit cards? Well, here's the reality. Credit cards are in existence because it allows people to afford things that they can't afford, which means buy the $4,000 television or a piece of equipment or item when they don't really have $4,000 sitting in their bank account. Maybe they have $1,500 and they go, wow, I really want that $4,000 camera. If I could just get that camera, then I can do the videos rather than using my iPhone, and I'll make more money, and then over a sustained period of time, I'll just buy down that $4,000 expense. It may take me 3 years, and ultimately I may pay $4,480 for it because of the interest, but I will be able to afford it now. Okay? Well, the same thing happens in leadership. We ask more of people now than we pour into them, with the hopes that over time we can pour into them and we'll buy it down. That's a credit card system. And the reality is that may work in our economy, that may work in the American consumerism model, but it doesn't work in the leadership relationship model. You cannot operate moving forward on a debt with the hopes that you're going to buy down those debts over a long sustained period of time with small amounts of income along the way. People don't naturally take to that. That's not a high level leadership model by which you can create long sustainable success. If you're constantly asking more of people than you're depositing into them, they're eventually going to leave you for the next opportunity or the next leader that's willing to operate by the responsible financial stewardship of the cash-based system, where I deposit as much income into that account so that one day I can debit from it. You see, if you operate like debit cards, like Dave Ramsey talks about cutting up your credit cards. Why? Because if you don't have that credit card per se, then you're not going to be buying things you can't afford. You're not going to put yourself into a debt that creates stress and, all that heartache of how do I pay this? Same thing in your relationships. If you cut up that concept of a leadership credit card, then you're going to be forced, in essence, per se, to deposit into that relationship at a really high level, knowing that someday there's going to be debits. You're going to need to ask of people more than they may have bought into initially, or you're going to make mistakes that just naturally withdraw from a relationship. It happens. We're humans. That's part of relationships. Where relationships go south, whether in a professional or a personal environment, is there's not enough of this and there's an exponential amount of this existing in the relationship. If you want to be a high-level leader whereby you can be more influential in your people, thus more impactful, cut up that leadership credit card. It's a psychology. Stop operating by the fact that I'll ask of them and pay down over a sustained period of time. Cut up that credit card. Operate by the responsible financial stewardship model of success. Use that in your relationships with your spouses, your loved ones, your families, and in your businesses, and dealing with people. And what you find is that if you deposit into them exponentially more than you ask of them, or the mistakes that you're going to make along the way, these deposits become okay. Why? Because at the end of the day, you're still in the positive. Your positive cash flow for the month, for the year, the biannual, quarter, whatever system of management you're looking at. Every business should have financial management whereby you're accounting for your numbers through a P&L statement at minimum. You have an asset sheet. You have, you're monitoring your bank accounts. Failure to do so will create massive failure in your business, I promise you. Failure to do so in your leadership will create massive failure in your relationships of leadership. If you're not accounting for the massive amount of income as opposed to the withdrawal and debits of expenses, you're going to lose. But if you take the approach of you challenge yourself, how every day you can pour into someone. Look, you have 7 days out of the week. Most businesses operate 5 out of 7. If you look to deposit into people every single day, and maybe you make 1 to 2 mistakes a week, those mistakes are overwhelmed by the income that people are experiencing from you. When you pour more value into them than you take away from them, they'll forgive you of the debits just like our P&Ls and our finances do. Listen, if you have any questions on this, I'll be glad to offer you a free, no obligation consultation of how this model, as well as our 6-level leadership model, can help you as a leader make more money, allow yourself more time and less stress, and how you can do so being more influential and more impactful in the relationships that you have with people, in your families, your organization, and your businesses. Feel free to reach out to me. My personal email is chris@transforminglivescoaching.com. Check us out on our website to find out more about our business and our coaching program at transforminglivescoaching.com. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Turn on live notifications. Follow us each and every day so we can pour massive value into you with no intentions of debiting. And even if we bring you a bad video, I promise you we'll give you more income in valuable videos than we will ones that don't meet your expectations. Thank you for joining me today. Remember one thing, God loves you, so do I. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.